Hello, internets, and welcome to another Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle. You can call me 12 Pack, and the battle I have for you today is against somebody called Ian. Now, definitely a little bit of history, not necessarily behind the battle itself, but behind my team, which I had been using a pretty similar team build to the one I have in this game for a few matches without success. Now, this team is designed primarily to set up as many entry hazards as possible so that my Poliwrath can come in late game and clean house. However, I was not succeeding in laying down the hazards I needed to, which are pretty critical for this strategy, I must say. And I eventually wound up having to switch up a few members of the team. Before, let's see, I was using a Mega Steelix to lay down rocks, and then I had Cloyster to set down spikes, toxic spikes, and get away with the rapid spins there. However, Cloyster is not, he doesn't have the resistances to be an effective hazard setter for the amount of layers I needed him to get down, so I wound up having to change up to something that really does the job like nobody else. So without further ado, let's get into a little bit more detail about this team and hop into team preview. My team. I'm running my Evolite Misdreavus. This is a specially defensive one. Very bulky, very hard to kill. It does the usual ghosty things such as Will-O-Wisp, Taunt, Foul Play, and Pain Split. And it's primarily here due to its Levitate ability, which gives me an immunity to Earthquake, which another team member is, or two team members are weak to. And also because he can block Rapid Spin, which is essential part of this team's strategy, keeping those entry hazards up. So next up, we've got my Audino, which actually I recently put this on the team too instead of another cleric I had because I needed something that carried Wish, just because the majority of the pokes I'm using are pretty bulky and don't have a reliable means of recovery. So Audino's here to pass off those wishes, and man, did I ever miss using this thing. It's so good. Regenerator is just an amazing, amazing ability, and Audino is probably the best wish passer in the game, in my opinion. Well, obviously, excluding Blissey and Chansey, but yeah, it is here for that. And I'm also carrying the Mega Stone, but I don't actually use it this game. I just basically have it to give myself a little more defenses in a clutch moment and to make myself immune to knockoff. So next up here, we have a very unique team slot poke here, and this is my Heatmore. However, I'm going to save talking about him for a future battle because he doesn't actually even get a chance to take the field this game. So another game I'll try to do some interesting things with him, but rest assured that this is a pretty cool set. So next up, we've got my Fortress here. Yeah, I know you're seeing Fortress and you're like, oh boy, Fortress, right? But no, I'm a little disappointed I had to use Fortress as well, but honestly, Fortress combined Rock Setter and Spike Setter and Rapid Spinner all in one and saved me an extra team slot, so I really needed him to be on this team, and he's just so reliable for what he does that I really couldn't get away with using anything else. So he's here for that reason. And next up, we have kind of my main focal point slash anchor for this team, and that is my Poliwrath. Now, this is a bulk up rest talker. This main attack is actually Circle Throw. Now, I recently learned that if you land Circle Throw through Sleep Talk, you actually lose the negative priority. So assuming you outspeed the Pokemon naturally, you won't go second because you use Circle Throw. So Poliwrath can actually phase out stuff while he's asleep. And this is a max HP, max special defense Poliwrath, and he's surprisingly bulky. Special defense is over 300, and his HP is, I think, 384 at level 100. So next up here, we got a Pokemon you're probably wondering, what in the hell is this thing doing on the team? And that is my Swalot. Now, I had been wanting to use this thing for quite a while because I've never seen him used whatsoever, and he has a little intriguing niche that I wanted to try out. Now, Swalot, as far as the kind of fatty, bulky Pokemon of the poison type go, actually has pretty nicely rounded stats. He has a very solid defense and special defense, and a pretty decent HP stat of I think 100 and it's some odd number over 100 and less than 105, I believe. So he gets some pretty nice tankiness, and also he actually gets Encore, which unlike Garbodor, Weezing, and Muck, is unique to him, and I love using Encore. It is a wonderful move. And in addition to having Encore, he also gets Yawn, which can force some excellent switch outs, and I thought would fit very nicely on this team due to its heavy uh, reliance on the entry hazards. So Swallow has a couple little other tricks up his sleeve, but I'll wait for the battle to get going to reveal those. So my opponent's team I'll go over quite briefly here. This was just some random dude I met as a passerby, and he's a fairly threatening looking upper UU slash lower OU team, with the exception of Glysaur, which will always be upper OU. But let's hop into it here. He's got a Breloom, which I wasn't too concerned about because I've got Fortress to block Spore with Overcoat, and my Swalot here will resist both of his stabs, so that wasn't too much of an issue going into the game. His Jolteon is always a bit concerning. I would need to kill that thing first before being able to set up with Poliwrath, much like Breloom actually, since the lightning and grass attacks from either of them would definitely hinder my ability to set up reliably. Next up is his Umbreon, which I'm not generally too concerned about if I have somebody with Encore or Taunt on my team, and I actually happen to have both this game. But the Glysaur, on the other hand, I don't really have anything that hard checks that, since he's only really weak to Ice, and I don't have any Ice attacks on this team, so keeping somebody with Taunt or Encore alive was going to be a large part of deciding whether or not I succeed against this Glysaur. And then he's got a Mega Sharpedo, which I don't really know a whole lot about. I don't even know its ability, but that's pretty cool that he's running that. And then finally, to round off the team, we've got a Crobat, which fortunately is part flying type, so when he enters the field, he will not clear my toxic spikes once I get them down. So without further ado, I've talked for a lot longer than usual, but I felt this team needed a bit of an extra introduction. But let's get right into this now, shall we?
Ian is issuing a challenge.
So he's going to lead off with Terror, the Crobat. Now, I decided to lead with my Misdreavus here, just in the attempt to taunt anything he might want to send out to set up hazards such as Glysaur. But he's going to go right ahead here on turn 1 and U-turn out, and I expected him to want to do something of the sort, so I'd actually gone for a foul play here, predicting something of a more... Well, actually, even if foul play had landed against Crobat, it probably would have done decent damage. But he does go out into the Umbreon, and that does next to nothing, and he gets most of the damage I did back with the leftovers. But this turn I'm free to go for the Taunt, potentially cripple that Umbreon, who did try to go for the Toxic that turn, and he's going to get a bit back with leftovers, bringing up to full HP, and I'm just going to go straight for the Will-O-Wisp here on the off chance he did want to switch out, and this Umbreon didn't have any attacks. But I forgot that he had Synchronize, so I unnecessarily get my Misdreavus burned here, but it's not the end of the world because I do have Audino with Heal Bell in case I need to get that off at a later date. And he's actually carrying Dark Pulse, which did a ton of damage. I know it's super effective, but I am specially defensive carrying an Evolite, so that seems to me... Well, he did get a critical hit on top of it, so I guess that was an appropriate amount of damage. So I went out into my Fortress here, and that Dark Pulse did quite a bit to Fortress as well, so I'm thinking this Umbreon must have some kind of special attack investment, but I could be wrong, I don't know. I usually just don't see it carrying any sort of special attack. So the taunt wears off, but he can't touch Fortress due to me being Steel type, so he's going to bring in Terror once again, his Crobat here, which doubtlessly is going to want to taunt my Fortress to prevent me from setting up further hazards, as I do actually get my rocks down this turn. But no, he actually opts to go for the Brave Bird, I guess maybe predicting me to switch out during the taunt, and that did a decent amount of damage to me, even though I don't actually resist it, it's neutral. And this turn he's going to go for a second Brave Bird, and the game actually lagged right there. I thought that he had DC'd, and I clicked A an extra time and went for Stealth Rock twice, so that was definitely not my fault. and it is going to cost me an extra turn of entry hazards. And I figured laying down spikes would be the better option, considering that a fair amount of his team actually is off the ground, so toxic spikes would not quite be the most optimal thing. Plus, I'd be better off burning some of his physical attackers. So I go out into Swalot here to eat up a few hits from this Crobat and keep my fortress alive for a later date to maybe get up some more entry hazards down the road. And he's just going to keep firing with Brave Birds. I don't think he's choiced because that's not doing enough damage, and as you see, I'm eating up those hits quite nicely. Swalot here probably would have been able to take about, I'm going to say, 3, almost 4 by the time he would have gone down to that. So Umbreon comes in. This guy does not know what Swalot does, I'm pretty sure, so he's going to go straight ahead for a Dark Pulse, which is going to hurt me moderately badly. However, this turn, I'm free to lock him into that with Encore, which is going to enable me to switch out into something else here to get a little bit of momentum on my side after all these... Yeah, okay, so I'm going to withdraw, bring in my Audino, which is specially defensive, so I'll eat up that Dark Pulse, no problem. Taking about, wow, another critical hit, so that Umbreon's landed 2 crits in, what, 4 Dark Pulses? Seems legit, right? So he's going to take a bit of burn damage once again, bringing him down to about half HP, and he is going to withdraw, not wanting my Audino to get a chance to do anything too serious, and bring in the Breloom, which is a bit concerning as he's doubtlessly got some kind of fighting type attack. However, I kind of predicted him to want to switch out, so I went for the knockoff, and I'm able to knock off the Focus Band, which I'm not really sure why he's carrying that instead of Sash or maybe Life Orb, but to each their own, I suppose. And this turn he went for the Spore, as I sort of predicted, but because my Misdreavus is already burned, he is unable to land that, and this turn I do outspeed because Breloom is slow as ass and get off the Will-O-Wisp. So fortunately I didn't lay down the Toxic Spikes earlier, and I'm free to get this burn off, which is going to severely hamper the Breloom's ability to do decent damage to my team, as he lands 2 hits of that Bullet Seed right there, proving he is one of those Technician Brelooms. And I'm at 8 HP right now. I'm just going to go for the Foul Play. Not really worth the Pain Split in my opinion. I felt that I would do more with the Foul Play than I would with Pain Split. And this turn he does finish off my Misdreavus with the Bullet Seed once again. So unfortunately Misdreavus is no longer part of the picture, and I kind of needed it for that Earthquake immunity for the Glysaur. But this turn I'm going to be free to send in my, whatever this thing is called, sorry, Swalot, blanked out for a second there. And he's going to go for the Drain Punch, which gives him a little bit of health back, but I have Rocky Helmet, so it kind of nullified that. And I'm actually carrying Rest on this thing over Pain Split, due largely in part to me having a Pokemon with Heal Bell on my team, which will enable me to wake up without having to stay in the field. And really, what Swalot does best is just sitting on the field and eating hits. He's got Sticky Hold, so his Rocky Helmet can never be knocked off, so as long as they're doing physical attacks to you, they are taking damage. And Sharpedo actually came in here, which is a bit concerning, but I believe I switched on the same turn, and this turn he does land that Ice Fang on me, doing not very much whatsoever, and I'm free to get off the Heal Bell, bringing my Swalot back to the waking world. Now, he's getting a bit of speed boosts off. I'm guessing that Mega Sharpedo does not have speed boost, as he is postponing Mega Evolving, and surely he's not just running a regular Sharpedo. I mean, who does that, right? So he's at, I think, +2 speed now, and I'm able to Wish Pass off to my Fortress here in an attempt to get it back up to enough HP that I can eat a few attacks and get up some more hazards, but unfortunately he actually does Mega Evolve on this third turn in the field here, and Mega Sharpedo is going to have enough power to bring down my Fortress at its current level of HP. I feel like I probably would have been fairly close to surviving that, but perhaps not. I don't really know Mega Sharpedo that well. And this turn now, I'm going to be free to bring back in my Swalot here, who's going to eat up this Waterfall, even though it is a stab attack, taking only 51 damage in the bargain, so I'm going to be able to take 3 more of those before going down. Actually, 4 more of those without going down. Oh wait, no, 3. No, yeah, I die on the 4th one. Yeah. I'm not good at math, okay. So anyway, Umbreon comes in, since he realizes he cannot touch me, and I'm wondering, Umbreon, interesting, what's it going to do? And that turn I'd actually gone for Yawn, again, predicting him to bring in maybe Glysaur or something. But since it is Umbreon, that's not going to affect him due to him already being burned. And this turn he goes for the taunt, so that is unfortunately going to shut down this Swalot somewhat severely. Although I do carry Gunk Shot, I now know that he does outspeed me, and he's probably got some sort of HP restoring move, so going for Gunk Shot is kind of a waste of a turn because I can get out a free switch if I expect him to heal. And I go back into my Audino this turn, as sure enough he does turn out to be carrying the Moonlight, and getting himself back up to mostly full HP, well, I guess 2/3 approximately. A little bit more with the lefties, but the burn damage isn't going to bring him back down. Now, Audino here is basically free to pass off a wish to something. However, he's not going to stay in against Audino, which I thought was kind of curious. Like, why not stay in and taunt Audino as well? But he does bring in Jolteon, and I wanted to get rid of the leftovers on the Umbreon, so that turn... Oh, hang on. No, sorry, I guess I did go for Wish, but this turn, he predicted me to want to swap out, but I stayed in, went for the knockoff, did a huge amount of damage, surprisingly, since Audino's attack is, like, pretty much, like, useless, and he's going to fire in with a Thunderbolt here, and since I knocked off the Life Orb, I'm going to take that easily, even with the critical hit, and I'm free to just go for another Wish here and keep my HP at a healthy sum so that I'm able to bring this Jolteon down, which I don't really have any other safe switch next to Audino, since Poliwrath is weak to it and everything else has negligible special defense. So just going to keep absorbing these Thunderbolts, using the Wish here to keep myself healthy and not within risk of dying from a critical hit. And he lands another Thunderbolt there, and this turn I go for the knockoff yet again, finishing off Jolteon. It's probably the only time you'll see a regular Audino beat a Jolteon in a one-on-one, both of us being at full health at the start of the encounter. So now the Glysaur comes in, and this perhaps was what he was waiting to do all along, because he does get the free switch into Glysaur, which enables him to go for the Protect and get off that ever so annoying Toxic Orb, which is going to give him back a decent amount of HP every turn. And this is where things in this battle start to slow down a little bit, because unfortunately, without Misdreavus to taunt, Glysaur is going to be able to outspeed my Swalot here, which actually is weak to his Earthquake on top of it. So I'm going to have to be very careful here if I want to be able to defeat this Glysaur. And this turn he does go for the Earthquake, which I assumed I was going to be able to take, and sure enough, yes, I could take one more of them if I chose to stay in another turn, and I'm free to get off the Encore now, which is going to prevent him from Toxicking any of my other Pokemon or setting up Substitute or Protecting. So now, I figured now is the best time than ever to go into my Poliwrath, which makes his debut on the field, and eat up this Earthquake. I assumed I'd be able to take it rather well, and sure enough, I don't lose hardly a quarter of my health. Now, Glysaur is going to have to withdraw, not wanting to take an Ice Punch from Poliwrath, which most of them do carry, I believe, although this set does not have it. And he goes out into Breloom, which is going to die from the entry hazards. However, not a complete loss for my opponent, because now he's able to basically send in whatever he wants freely against the Poliwrath, and I just take the turn to get off a solid bulk up here, bringing my attack and defense up to +1, and recovering a bit of more HP with that leftovers. Now Umbreon comes in, doubtlessly wanting to Toxic my Poliwrath to prevent my stay in the field from going on for too long, and he goes for the Moonlight this turn, bringing himself back up to mostly full HP on the off chance I do want to go for an attack and that he might live it. But now, I know that I have Rest, so I'm not concerned about the Toxic. I just want to get as many bulk ups up as possible so that when I run into Mega Sharpedo again, or the Glysaur, I don't get KO'd by a crit or whatever after toxic damage, which is sure to be a thing momentarily. So Umbreon's taken a bit of burn damage, and yet again, and this turn, sure enough, he does go for that toxic, which I kind of predicted. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that I actually attack this turn. Yes, go for the circle throw. Goodbye, Umbreon, get out of here. It's not going to be able to survive another entry into the field, and that will be the last we see of it this game. So, Bruce the Mega Sharpedo comes back out, and now we've got to kind of see how Poliwrath here can fare against the Sharpedo. I'm not really sure if Sharpedo can carry anything that will hurt me seriously, unless he has maybe like Thunderfang or something, but no, he's actually just got Crunch, which I do resist. But he gets the defense drop, which is actually kind of shitty because I don't have any defensive investment without that bulk up. So now I'm at +1 defense and I whiff on the circle throw, which is unfortunate but kind of hazard of using it. I think it's only 85% accurate. And I'm going to take a bit more toxic damage. And this turn he actually went for the Protect, which I should have kind of guessed would be his third or fourth move because regular Sharpedo needs that Protect to get up a few speed boosts reliably before Mega Evolving. And I'm going to take Toxic, bringing me down to a little over half health, and this turn he goes for the Crunch again. Now this turn I could have actually finished him off with the Circle Throw, but I figured that would be too risky as he does get a second defensive drop on me. The hacks are with this guy this turn, with all, or this game I should say, with all the critical hits and stat drops he's been landing. So I just went for the rest there, wanting to bring myself back up to full, and Sharpedo pulls out for the last time because he's not going to be able to re-enter the field with the hazards up unless this Glysaur is magically packing Defog in the back there, and for some reason has not decided to use it up until this point. So I'm going to go for the Sleep Talk, get up another bulk up here, and as will soon become apparent here, we were at a bit of a stalemate as far as being able to injure one another was concerned. He shortly will show that he has Substitute, and even as I get the Sleep Talk with the rest here, and yep, sure enough, he does go for the Substitute. So now, this kind of puts me in an awkward position because while I'm not really at the risk of getting KO'd, I can't do any direct damage to him before he's going to be able to recover most of his HP with Protect, or outspeed me and get up the Substitute. So this is kind of shitty at the moment, and this went on, I'm going to tell you right now, for a good 12 turns. So I'm actually going to skip ahead here because nothing really happens, and it's just us trying to outlast the other. And my opponent fortunately does eventually take the honorable way out, as you'll see coming up here. But I don't think anyone, including myself, wanted to watch 12 turns of me just sitting there, alternating between bulk up and rest and breaking substitutes with circle throw. And I was actually really concerned that this guy was just trolling me because he should have known by this point that there was no way he could win. I thought he was going to drag it out for as long as he possibly could and then DC. I was like, yeah, this is totally what's going to happen. This was a really good battle. I finally got a game with Poliwrath after losing like 5 matches with him. Well, not that many, probably about 4. And I finally got everything set up perfectly to my liking. It was doing really well against a strong opposing team. And I'm like, yeah, he's definitely going to DC. It's going to happen. He knows he got outplayed by a Poliwrath, and because people are salty like that, he is going to DC, and that's going to be the end of the game. But my opponent actually goes for one final Earthquake here, bringing me down actually to 82 HP, but that's no longer a worry whatsoever as I just go for the rest, which I do have max PP for. So my opponent, I think, finally just gave up here, realizing he was never going to be able to defeat this Poliwrath before he ran out of PP for his own moves. He took the honorable way out and forfeited like a man. Mad respect to my opponent for that, and Poliwrath came in late game, as I knew he had the potential to do, and completely shut down my opponent with his walling capabilities. Now, don't underestimate Poliwrath, people. I know he has a shallow move pool. It's kind of outdated, but real talk, he can do what needs to be done. So, I hope you all very much enjoyed watching. I'll definitely try to get another game with my Heatmore here, which was not even required in this game. If I had sent him in against Glysaur, he surely would have got wrecked. So, I'll try to get another match that he is somewhat successful in. He functions similar to Poliwrath in that he needs to come in late game because he doesn't do enough damage by himself to be able to OKO things. So, I hope you all very much enjoyed watching, and with that, yet again, I will see you next time. Bye for now.